Y'all already know what time it is. Yeah, now tuned in with your guys, Joe T.
D. Johns.
And man, it's just two grown men having a conversation. I like saying that even though we don't have a name of it yet, but I feel like it's just two grown men having a conversation. But if y'all got any ideas like we said before, man, drop them in the comments, man. How you feeling this morning?
I feel fantastic, man. Off the heels of one conversation, ready for another one.
That's what's up. That's what's up, man.
How you feeling, bro?
I'm great.
Bali was good?
Orlando Bali was good.
I see that man on the bus. I said, now I done been out of the country several times. That ain't,
Hey, get what? And then I had just got on live the night before. Bali like a 20-some hour flight.
It's a go.
I'm like, ain't no way I got here that fast.
It's a go.
You know, and then I was cutting up on there too, but it'd be interesting to see. It let you know that a lot of people believe anything on the internet.
Living your life.
Yeah, a lot of people believe anything on the internet. But man, you asked me how I was feeling this morning, like what was on my mind, and it's been on my mind a couple of times since I've been home.
You ain't got your glasses on either.
I ain't got my glasses on. It's finna get full.
I thought we was about to have a light episode.
It's been on my mind. Matter of fact, I'm gonna pop it out before. I'm gonna try to tell a little slight story before when I came home. For the people who don't know, you know, I went in special aggravated robbery, special aggravated kidnapping, first degree premeditated murder. Whether I pulled the trigger or not, I was just as guilty.
Yeah.
When I came home after only doing 10 years and life started picking up, I did wonder how that made people feel.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the people that I grew up around that felt some type of way about what happened, even though some of them, majority of them embraced me once they seen that I had changed my life. It's still bittersweet for me and probably some of them because we're connected to people who, and so somebody made a post one day and they was like, it's interesting and weird that how I'm watching all of these people who said he should get a life sentence now are saying, I'm proud of you. Congratulations. Somebody sent it to me and they was like, you need to respond to this. They was like, because you ain't the same person, you'd have changed your life. My first read on it was, because you can't get away from your past.
Yeah.
Regardless of, I don't care how much success, how much growing, it's always going to be that person that's going to be, but I remember, regardless. At the same, in that same conversation, people forget you can have that same conversation about them in some aspect.
Mm-hmm.
First person without seeing cast first known type of situation.
Yeah.
And then we pick and choose who we want to, you selective with. Because if one of your family members came home in that same situation, you would be, it is just a difficult situation. So I left it alone. I didn't respond. I went back and read it again. This time I went through the comments. And I seen majority of people defending me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, man, he done came, he doing. And then I made a video a couple of days after that, not necessarily about that situation, but I talked about what I want. Unforgiveness and forgiving self. Because of the chains you put on yourself first when you walk around with guilt of if you done wrong somebody, wronged yourself, or whatever the case may be. Guilt can get very heavy. And then being in chains to other people. I told my daddy years ago, D. John, man, I said, man, you gotta, cause he got all of these projects that's tied to what he went to prison for. I said, at some point you gotta quit apologizing. You can apologize a million times. I said, but you in chains to them people at that point. You gotta quit doing that. So I wanted to talk about forgiving self and people being unforgiving.
Yeah.
How you feel about that?
Relevant. Because I struggle with forgiving me for a lot of things. A lot of things. It's slow coming out.
Yeah. No, take care of your business.
Yeah. I made a post the other day. I said I wake up every morning feeling like a failure, but I keep going.
Hmm.
And I do keep going. The challenge is I haven't forgiven myself for some mistakes
Mm-hmm.
that are part of why life is challenging now, even though other people aren't really still holding me to the people that matter. Because a lot of people don't know.
Mm-hmm. You got yourself in chains.
But I guess that'll come out
Mm-hmm.
in this conversation. But yeah, yes. I've grown to forgive other people way more freely than I forgive myself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Way more freely. And that's something, it was wild, not even wild, how God works. We started having a conversation about another conversation I wanted to have right before this, and I said, let's not do it.
Uh-huh.
But this is absolutely part of that conversation that I want to have, is how you let go of who you are and become comfortable with where God has you now, because it's so different. And the success ties to that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you...
Yeah.
I know what I feel guilty about,
Mm-hmm.
and it's enough for me.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't anywhere near what your life experiences have been.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it's 2 for 1.
My last 2 years, well, I'm going to go to the beginning. It took a long time, like I said before, for me to even realize what I had done. Not just with the case that sent me to prison, but everything.
Yep.
The robberies, selling drugs, robbing people, putting my hands on people, shooting people, spitting on people, smacking people, choking people, you name it. I could go on, not being there for my child. Then it was a situation one time, man, my child mama called me and said she needed something. I was right around the corner. I lied and said I was in Clarksville, which is 45 minutes away. It's just so many things that I could say where I'm sitting in this cell and I'm trying to get people unalive. Like I'm just doing so much, not even realizing how I was really living.
Yeah.
And it was a time I was watching TD Jakes at the time, man, and I remember breaking down. I caught the spirit that day. I remember, like, nobody can ever take that experience from me. It was weird. It was real. And it was like I gained a conscience. Like I started to feel. Like my tears wasn't, I've cried before out of being tired and desperate and anxious. This time I cried because I felt. I felt what I did. I felt I'm finna miss out on my child's life. I felt you're not there to protect your people and you did all of that stuff. Somebody could do something to your mama. Before I got arrested, D-John, man, I'm getting ready to go to Clarksville, and this after the case, because it happened June 24th, 2007. I didn't get arrested till July 27th, like almost 40-some days later. So in that period of time, it still hadn't registered, but I'm getting ready to leave my mama's house, and I saw her grab a chair out of the kitchen and take it in the living room and put it under the door. And I remember asking, I said, what you doing that for? She said, I ain't finna let nobody come in here and do nothing to me. You been out here. And I left, and I remember riding and thinking, how was I living like that and never registered? My mama lived right in the middle of all these people. Like I literally robbed somebody one time at my mama's house. Like I made this person
come to your mama.
Yeah. Threaten his mama and the person that was in the car with him, grandmama. Like, if you don't bring me this, I'm finna go to your mama's house and tell him I'm gonna go to his granny house. Y'all bring me that right now. Like, literally made them pull in my driveway, throw out what I wanted, and told them to pull off at my mama's house. The same house I'm talking about where she put the... Then when I'm in this cell, like, all of that stuff started registering. Like, dude, like, you was completely awful. So throughout my sentence, I thought about some of these things, but then going to prison, it's hard to get to that place of, because I have to keep that monster, I have to keep that mad, I have to wear this to an extent. I'm thinking when I get here, I can't realize what I done did and go into a place where these people awful and thinking I could just be nice, like, I ain't know that, I'm cool, like, nah. So my last 2 years, I just started, man, I want to make sure I articulate this as best as possible. I was already tired of feeling like I had to apologize. I realized what I'd done. I realized that time. I realized, I knew it. I can't even explain, but I knew in my heart the best way to prove that and show that redemption, whatever you want to call it, was to change the behavior.
Sure.
I knew that. I feel like that's the best way I could show I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And that's the best way I could start to forgiving myself, was to walk in that. Because now I got something to trump what I done. I'm better at, and so by the time I walked home, by the time I got out and walked back into society, there was a sense of paranoia, anxiety, a lot of different emotions. Because on top of the change was the awareness of unforgiveness, retaliation. How do I walk in that and also be what I know I've become?
Did you ever feel like, or do you still feel like there's a scoreboard that you're trying to?
No more. Go ahead.
But what's that like though? Initially, like right for wrong, you're trying to put up these numbers.
My daughter, probably the best example I could use for that. In the beginning with my relationship with her, I knew it was I'm trying to do certain things to get to the point of feeling like we're at an even place for all the stuff that I had did, and all the time that I had missed, and but that was probably the lesson also that made me realize everything about everything else. You can't keep saying as guilt.
Yeah.
You checking boxes thinking this is what's going, and that's me being in bondage. The first real conversation I had to have with my daughter, I was scared. I was terrified to really speak my mind, check her, put her in her place.
Yeah.
Because I think she made a post one time. I can't remember what it was, but I knew we had just bumped heads. And she made a post because she had somebody in her life the whole 10 years I was gone as a father figure.
Ooh.
The whole 10. Like he left probably like 6 minutes. Her mama and him probably separated probably 6-7 months after I was, but the entire sentence they was together. So he was there.
Yeah. I
respect that. I appreciate that. Took a long time to embrace that. I actually was trying to get something done to him at one point. But she made a post one time, D. John, and said, she shouted him out and she was like, he's been more daddy to me than my own dad. Something in that. And it could. I probably was home like 2 years at the time. Like it was, I was like, I called her mama, asked her mama, her mama said she talked to her or whatever. But I remember a couple of days after that having a conversation with her in my car. And I was on fire. But I was scared to say certain things out of guilt. Hadn't forgave myself. But I felt, even to a child, I felt restricted and locked up.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember punching the steering wheel and I let it out. And she sit there and she listened. And after that, I was able to see we still had our relationship. It actually made it better.
Mm-hmm.
She still loved me. She still cared. She had her little moment. We got back on. And I think I kind of started treating everything like that. I started setting boundaries and realized, if it happens that way, it happens that way. If it don't, it don't. But I ain't finna be in chains to you. I ain't finna keep apologizing to you. I ain't finna keep modifying, I guess, certain things about my behavior to show you, or being less vocal.
Yeah.
Toned down. Some people's definition biblically of humility is weakness. You want my humility to look cowardice. You want me to bow down to you. tuck my tail, not be loud, not be vocal, not express myself. And to you, that's, yeah. No, that's me in chains to you. That's not me honoring the Most High. He said when he forgive me, he forgive my sins as far as from the east as from the west. He throw it in the sea of forgiveness. Why am I in chains to people?
Yeah.
David said, I wrong no man. I got an answer to him. You ain't got no heaven or hell to put me in. But now I done put myself in chains to you and I can't be who he called me to be because I'm worried about how it's going to make you feel when I say or do certain things.
Did you get to that place before or after what we see now as the success?
Before. I most definitely, when I first came home, my first year, I was more so on Facebook. I said a lot of things. I said a lot of vocal things that exposed and revealed what it would look like speaking my mind, knowing I'm in my hometown doing this. So I know, stirring the pot up and seeing people like he got the nerve to fix his mouth and be preaching or be ministering or be, I can't, but then I also seen the other side of what people were saying, well, if anybody got the testimony to be able to, it's him. I seen both sides.
Yeah.
But over time, one of the greatest lessons, probably top 10 of all that I've seen and learned my entire life is damn if you do, damn if you don't. People got something to say regardless. I could have been what it is they wanted me to be, just got a regular job. It still would have, I could have been successful and it wouldn't have mattered. Something was going to be said. So if you know that, why not just do what he asked you to do and just take whatever chastisement and correction and from him versus people?
How were you able to separate the like the anger from it though? Because you
the success helped that.
How?
Because go ahead, let me let you finish and see.
You took it in a direction I think that's more important because I was still collecting the thought, but go ahead. The success.
My anger first at myself. Because even before I went to prison, I knew I was capable of what's happening today. I knew it. The environment, upbringing, lack of resources, lack of knowledge. I always had whatever this is. So of course, sitting in prison, I was not only angry for things I did, but I'm angry at myself. Me and my daddy talk about this all the time. My daddy been gone. I'm 30. I'm finna be 38. December, so my dad been gone 36. He talk about how hurt, how angry he get, frustrated he get, knowing what he capable of doing and ruined his life. So I felt that anger first. Second anger, which probably helped me free me, was realizing I was in bondage to people. That made me angry and frustrated, wondering how this gonna make this person feel. Even when it comes to, not just, I don't even like calling them victims, but people that was, a part of that path.
Yeah.
Family. I was a victim too. When I wanted to express it that way, it sounded like a cop-out or deflection or, what I'm saying, not trying to take accountability. No. My mama did certain things, my daddy did certain things even though he was locked up. My family members wasn't there. I started, I can say these things. This is true.
Yeah.
So that was, yeah. Wow, I'm finna go there. But that anger, what else made me angry? Now hold it. I was angry that I had gave my life to the streets and came home and the streets gave me nothing. 2. My first 365 days, I wore the same 10, 11 outfits, 2 pairs of shoes. Nobody who claimed they looked up to me as far as in the streets and what they say I was gave me nothing, bro. Nothing for my contribution to what they look at as.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So that most definitely, go ahead.
No, the one thing that keeps resonating is the being in bondage to people and how much of a life, of a person's life that can shape. And then thinking about how much of my life that shapes. Because you can be in bondage to people that don't even know that they've wronged you or that you realize that they've wronged you.
Facts.
And I think I held a lot of that versus having conversations about it as if me showing up differently or me showing my my anger in certain ways would trigger something in their mind that, oh, they owe me something. Mm. But I wouldn't, it wouldn't be about the conversation for me. It'd be about you seeing that I'm angry at you for something that we've never actually discussed.
Right.
And how many relationships that I may have lost that could have been salvaged had I given that person the opportunity. That's the thing about forgiveness. It's not, it's not about the satisfaction that somebody knows they wronged you and them saying they're sorry to you.
Facts.
It's about you being in a place where you've allowed it, you've processed through whatever attached feelings or emotions you have with it to a place, because sometimes the feeling doesn't go away, that you have released that thing into the ethos to do whatever you've given it to God, not that God is ethos. No, please don't do that.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
Please don't do that. But yeah, so I'm thinking about like my mind, since you opened the conversation with your story, my mind has been spinning about all of the angles of forgiveness that are impacting my life today. Where I haven't forgiven me, where I haven't forgiven people, where I haven't given people an opportunity to be forgiven, and where I haven't sought forgiveness where I know that it's due.
That's heavy. You should do that. It's never too late. Just to go ahead and put that out, and that's for anybody.
Yeah,
we're talking about being free.
She know.
Yeah,
I'm about to say, because like anger shows up in different ways. Like my anger isn't violent in all cases. Sometimes it's ignoring. Like, you don't exist to me anymore.
That's a heavy one too.
In the same room, you don't exist to me anymore.
That's a heavy one too.
Yeah. Without explanation, again, that's the assumption that you should know why. You should know why this is the case. Or resentment. And that's probably my biggest struggle. It has the biggest impact on life now in terms of, like, with my wife. Like we've had some experiences that I've caused, that she's caused, that I'm sure the resentment has grown at different points both ways. But I know for a fact right now, sitting here, I resent some things that deserve a conversation that would probably change the course of the next 20 years. Because we what's today? We couple weeks out from our 20th anniversary. And milestones like that, though it shouldn't come to that, but I started thinking about, man, this is like 20 years is an investment, and it's something to think back on and be proud that you made it through. But what am I carrying into the next 20 years out of pride and ego and like a whole spirit of unforgiveness that would take us from existing at some times in some spaces to actually living the life that we're supposed to live.
I'm glad you said all that, because we're kind of defining certain aspects of unforgiveness.
Yeah.
Pride, ego, like you said, that resentment, a lot of this stuff, hesitant or procrastinating these conversations that we need to have, that we need to approach as adults. We're talking about grown people.
Big age.
I'm talking about, yeah. And don't get me wrong. There are several things I've been hesitant to approach in conversation, to seek forgiveness or to just have a conversation with somebody that I felt I'm finna give you a lane to open it, because we ain't finna just keep acting like you ain't, you know what I'm saying? Because it hurt to know I can still be attached to you. But like you said, that resentment of knowing, like, we just carrying on like you ain't, you know what I'm saying? That get loud in your head over time. And now I'm going to keep using this word, bondage.
It influences decisions on a daily basis.
Yes.
Like, in those small decisions consistently become habits.
Yeah.
And you literally become a different person than they know and that you actually want to be, because you're allowing this avoidance of a conversation.
Yep.
Because you're so invested in how you feel, and so that's me. Once I convince me in my mind that my mind is right, best of luck to you.
Best of luck to you. I'm the same way.
Best of luck to you.
I am the same way, man. I gotta ask, because this is a question for myself too. Do you feel like that's helped any?
Not once.
Do you feel like?
Go ahead. I was quick on that. My mouth was moving. I don't think that's a pause, but
yeah.
I started speaking before I processed the whole thing. Me being certain about how I feel about a thing, without regard to how anybody else feels. There are instances where I'm glad I did that.
For sure.
And not glad in the sense of it turned out a way and somebody was hurt, but I'm still glad. But no, it was absolutely the right thing to do.
I can feel that.
80-20, 90-10 is probably the other way.
I can feel that.
Probably the other
way. I agree with that. I agree with that. Do you feel like it's also molded a pattern of that?
It's duplicating in my children.
That's heavy.
Yeah. I'm at a place now where I can ask my children for forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
Before, it was, let me replace my error with a gift or an experience that helps you not think about it. You know, like keep lighten it up just a little bit. Like you see the what do they call it, the reels on social media where how does a mama ask for forgiveness?
Yeah.
Or how's a husband, like, you hungry? You want that thing you like?
Yeah.
You want the wings?
You want to go eat?
Yeah, something like that.
You hungry?
Yeah, I seen you had something in your cart. I went ahead and ordered that.
Yeah.
Never actually had the cart.
Yeah.
That was me. And it was my wife. For like, we are king and queen petty. Less now today than we were before, but even with the person that I literally asked God for my wife. I know that's the corny and cliche thing to say.
That's real.
It's not corny, but
I heard it.
Everybody thinks that that's how it happens.
Yeah.
No, some people just have a wedding. They don't really have a marriage. Like, I sought my wife out and asked God for that one. He was like, in due time, and I didn't always manage it properly. But that was definitely a toxic trait that I have I abandoned it? It shows up less frequently now, but if you wrong me, whether it was intentional or unintentional, I'm going to treat you in a way that you know is different until you undo that thing.
Yes.
And that can mean we don't talk today, tomorrow. I will untalk to you before. I promise you I will untalk to you before you say something to me.
Yeah. Ooh, boy.
Before you say something to me.
We're in the same boat on that one.
And it don't solve nothing. And the thing is, it's a early, immediate justification for how you feel. Because that's one thing that I've learned is nobody has to validate your feelings. You felt the way based on your experience. You did this. I felt this way.
Yep.
If that's the end of the conversation, the problem continues. But when you can have a conversation, I just wasn't good at, hey, that thing you did, I ain't like it.
Man,
I just need you to know that.
Well, you hit it.
I just need you to know that, and I'll treat you differently once you realize that I didn't like that thing you did.
Why is it so hard for us as grown people? Because it's so simple. Ego, pride. That ego is so it's so detrimental to relationships, friendships, and things. It could be that simple of just, hey, this made me feel this way. As a man, which I've gotten better with this, saying,
this anger on my face means this.
Yes. My silence this is why. Like, and you create that. I feel like you put that spirit in the atmosphere when you do that.
Sure.
Over time, because your partner or friend, when they know and that happens, you feel that energy, you feel that tension, you feel that hostility, you feel that avoidance, you feel those things. These are also contributing factors in my opinion, that unforgiveness or reconciliation, having a conversation, and all of that stuff is building up versus freeing yourself.
Yeah.
You putting that in yourself, free yourself. And whether that person turn into or change their behavior, get that up off you though. I told you. Because you gotta let people know this is not how I want to be treated.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah. I was not accountable to myself for a long time. I think that's a big part of my challenge was I would get myself in situations and realize it was completely on me that I did that. Didn't have to, but I did that. And now I'm angry, but I would deflect by lashing out at other things, making small things as big as my mistake. I'm about to lose the first house that we bought together. I'm about to, this might be newsflash to her. That's crazy. Oh, my bad, shorty.
Yeah.
My bad, shorty.
Right.
About to lose that house, stressing out, managed to save it. She was none the wiser, but I realized in hindsight that I was making her mistakes or shortcomings as big in my mind as me mismanaging that house. Because it got to be even. I can't come out and clearly it's more my fault than your fault. It's got to be at least equal our fault or you're wrong.
Man.
In my mind. And that probably took years of enjoyment out of our relationship. And I know it sounds...
Now you just blessed me with that one.
Well, there you go. That's what it was for then.
Now you just blessed me. You just made me look at myself.
That's what it was for then. We got married early. We got 20, I was 25 and she was 24. I was turning 26 later that year. And I said it before, it was like we've only had life events. Like for a string of years, it was like this major thing that could make or break, couples in certain instances. And we didn't invest enough time in each other. Like who the person she is, who the person I am early. And we were just, those people were changing and we didn't look up until we got to certain points. Now it's like, man, I apologize for not seeing you. I tell this when I was like, when my wife was a trooper having babies.
Yeah.
Go in. Literally, I took off work a few hours before number 4 was born. Cause she was like, I feel it. I need to get to the hospital. And I actually think I went and got her. We went back to my job so I can get something. Well, my job in the hospital were like 3 or 4 miles apart. But I got used to seeing her perform in a certain way or show up in a certain way. And it was on me to ask questions that I didn't ask. So to me, if you didn't say, I'm out the window.
Yeah.
If you didn't say, hey, having a baby hurts, my body has changed, I'm different. I'm just wearing it. I'm just wearing this face.
Yeah.
So you don't go crazy. Well, you ain't tell me.
You ain't tell me.
So
listen up, women.
It ain't. You know what I mean?
So you just so we can agree right now as men.
I don't stand by that today.
Because some women do it more than us, where they think we can read their mind. So we can be thinking that way sometimes. Like you should know.
Yeah.
Say something. You know what I'm saying? Or
also read the room, fellas.
Read the room. Man,
I didn't ask enough questions.
Man, it's a good conversation, man. That unforgiveness, man, pride, ego, resentment,
ignorance.
Yes. It could all just be a simple conversation.
It could, let me put a spin on that.
Mm-hmm.
It could simply take a conversation. Conversation might be tough AF, but
yeah,
the root is typically getting to that.
I'm gonna tell you something, and I'm a believer in that word. I am a firm believer. I also watched how forgiving myself, and I'm not saying this from a prideful standpoint. I want to give a hope for people who believe how I believe. It allowed me to elevate and watch the people who were still in chains stay in the same place.
Mm-hmm.
The same people who talk and run their mouth, you're in the exact same spot, doing the exact same things, doing the gossiping, the complaining, whatever it else it is you want, pride, ego. You're in, and you're watching. The crazy thing is, now that I'm sitting here talking, I just recently started taking backlash, probably for the first time on my platform, certain things that I talked about. But it's from the people, the support I've had from people who watch me from the beginning. Now they're watching me grow and evolve the same way them people from before them who had something to say. And now it's like, I'm trying to make this make sense. I've reached a ceiling. If you describe, you go from 1 to 10, and then from 10 you got to start over. 11 is 1 again.
Mm-hmm.
And I did find myself sometimes feeling like, man, you got to explain that. And I think you made me realize that in a conversation we was having. And I was like, am I explaining myself? Because I normally don't do that. The minute you do that, you're giving people control over you. I'm not saying that I don't owe you an explanation, but the minute I feel like I need to get at, or I'm gonna lose this person, or this, it's controlling me.
Yeah.
And not being able to be settled in myself. I don't like feeling unsettled in myself. I hate feeling like, did I? Mm-hmm. I don't like that feeling, but now I'm starting to feel it. And some told me, no, be unapologetic if you standing on your principles or what you believe. Because if you start doing that, you going back in chains. You ain't gonna, and them chains gonna get so heavy before, when you want to break them and they done got that heavy, it's harder.
Mm-hmm.
It's harder to at that point, and then you.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So there's a string of events that have happened over the last couple of days that are confirmation for me. So having a conversation with a good brother yesterday, and we were getting to the end of it, and I was closing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was shouting out my wife's book, like I think I have on this one, in detail, pumping it up, celebrate her. I said, I also have a book, boom, boom, boom. And I was close. He was like, hey, whoa, ho. So what's the title? You didn't even say the title of your book. Like, what's the book about? Like, how can we find it? He's like, never mind that. Why don't you say that? And I was like, I don't like pointing to me. I just, you know what I mean? I'm not really big at looking at me. And I've said that so many times that that's my reactionary statement. But he was pushing and pushing the conversation. And it made me realize that I really think I'm unworthy for people to buy my thoughts because of things I haven't forgiven myself for.
That's heavy.
And he's like, you're actually robbing people. If this is something that God gave you to give to the world, you're robbing people and you're disrespecting him, giving you this gift by not talking about it, because you simply are at war with yourself about it.
True.
And this is not a plug
I feel you. I know it. I know. Come on
It's
with
not. But like, that's my struggle today, is that I am constantly denying myself or my value because it's tied to things that I haven't
it.
actually forgiven myself for. And outside looking in, people say, "Man, this is that. This is you need, people need to understand. Like, they need to know." And I'm just like,
It's interesting hearing from you because a lot of time when people got that unforgiveness, I feel like they project. You don't project though. You still straight up and down who you are. You deal with your unforgiveness with you. A lot of people, they project. Like some of the things that people have told me over the years, it's them projecting their fears. Like,
sure,
yeah, you
that's
don't
most
do
of your
that.
comments.
Yeah, you don't do that.
Yeah,
And still, and that's interesting.
it's almost like I got myself on punishment.
I wonder how many people, if you feel like that,
You know what I mean? Like,
this is a question, man. If do you feel like you got yourself on punishment? As you hear the conversation we having, commercial break me, please. What for what? What is it that you have yourself on punishment for? What is it that has put you in chains to where you feel like you don't deserve? Or do you realize that you've become your own burden? That's a burden. Is it heavy?
yeah, because I keep finding ways to double down on it. Like the majority of even the clips that I put out
Mm-hmm.
highlight the other person. That's just like I've always been in my mind like I would rather facilitate than get the recognition. Like, no, I connected these dots. I feel better about that, but it's more about the spotlight not being on me for anything. Like how we got here is because you came on a podcast that I was doing to be accountable to my son.
Mm.
The point was never for me to be the face
Yeah.
of, outside of that, because it was personal. I just wanted to go in the background and put some movies out, like do some stuff like that. But I keep finding myself in positions where it's like clearly something that I got to say is necessary for somebody to hear. Something that I've done is necessary for somebody to see it.
Mm.
But I be in my head like, yo,
That's interesting, bro.
like, man, I don't, you know what I mean?
Bro, I ain't saying this is no exaggeration. This ain't me trying to, you know what I'm saying, gas your head or nothing. Bro, I don't kick it with a lot of people in here. I don't, you can ask once we started being consistent, my fiance was like, you keep doing that. I was like, I like bro.
Yeah, right.
Like our conversation, I could tell we here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Bro, you dope. Like seriously, like you walking in here, you creative, like you, like that's interesting, bro. Your upbringing, bro, you have a very interesting story, bro. You inspire me in ways that I know, you know what I'm saying, people I need. It's something about you that I need. You know what I'm saying? And that keeps me around, bro. When I am inspired and I'm intrigued with your thought process, bro. I watch like how you paused when you answered and then you came back. Like how thoughtful you are when you articulate things, vocabulary wise. Like, bro, I had to say that, like, bro. And I know it's
Appreciate it, man.
Easier said than done, getting out of your head.
Mm-hmm.
I am a firm believer that life and death is in the power of the tongue. And people, just because you didn't say it with your mouth, don't mean you didn't say it here.
Yeah.
And when you saying it here, because I'm a firm believer of the scripture, and it say, cast down those things that exalt itself against the knowledge of the Most High. A lot of times when we get in our head, it's because you're allowing them thoughts to cast it above the knowledge. It say to bring them things down into the obedience of Christ. And if we and I struggle with it in some aspects, whether it be my hair, which I ain't shaved on, we having a real conversation today. We having a real conversation. My self-esteem sometimes, which I ain't forgave, I could put that in the category of unforgiveness. When I had my hair, bro, like my hair was a thing for me. By the time I started losing it. Well, I can still grow a full head of hair. I think I just damaged the follicles real bad. And then, as you can see, they pushed my line up back real far in the penitentiary. So, for them barbers, man, I hope you ain't still got them clippers in your hand. But
none of that should draw attention to my hairline. My hairline been challenged for.
Man, listen, we free.
A solid decade.
We free. Man, bro.
I appreciate you saying that, man. Like, and it's like this, and I wasn't baiting you to.
Nah, I know you wasn't.
Like the last couple of, like this weekend has turned into today.
Yeah.
Where it's like, man, get out your way.
Nah, for real, bro. Nah, for real. Get out the way, man. Yeah, man. It's a few things. What is something, I guess, not too personal that you feel? Because I'm gonna think of something too that you need to forgive yourself, that you feel is holding you back.
The biggest one is financial screw ups.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've had it, not had it, had it, not had it, and I got so used to it coming again that even when I knew the source, not the almighty source, but the job that it was tied to, when that went away, it still didn't immediately click that that thing that was always recurring, March ain't gonna look the same.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I made it so important that it was hard for me to see how my family didn't make it important. And like I feel a way about the lifestyle change that they don't even notice. Yeah. Well, it's not that they know, but they don't hold me to. With them, it's like, it's different.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well,
do you think that's a standard we hold ourselves to as men?
I say personally, I was so prideful in the fact that I made it, air quotes for those listening, made it as far as I did, that I almost was probably looking down on people or something, like I felt like I was in a different class. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I feel that.
It never showed, like I was never boastful about it, but in my mind, I was like,
yeah. Yeah.
What that W-2 say?
Right.
Okay.
I feel that. I feel that.
And then it was like, and I've said it before, like so much of my identity was attached to that being associated with me that, let's see, since it's a popular, we just talked about Brian in my last conversation. Brian and him bringing his son. But whatever you think about that. But it would kind of be like, is that even relevant? Like imagine LeBron waking up tomorrow and couldn't perform. Couldn't. Now, I'm not saying
I feel you.
Less.
I feel you. Couldn't.
Another league.
Stop.
Couldn't perform. What do you think he would be in his head? Now he's had a 20-year run, which I didn't have a 20-year run at that level, but 20 years in corporate.
He gonna be in his head.
Right. But we would say, nah, but your stats, bro. Some would say he's a version of the GOAT. You 37. I don't know where you fit. I don't want to do this.
Jordan gonna be our man.
My man. That's why you're here.
For sure. Yeah.
You see it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's to others not in that position, it would be like, man, I would love to have that problem. But if the problem consumes you at the level of any different problem consuming somebody different that's as great, the impact is the impact. If his identity is getting on that court and he can't get on that court, the $1 billion that he's made over the last 20 years or however many billion over the last couple, like what is that? That's only a stat.
Yeah.
It's only a point of reference.
Yeah.
It doesn't, that day, reading those stats doesn't help him until he gets to a place where he's ready for that next phase of life and accepts
right
what's going on. And to bring it home, imagine if he couldn't perform because he went out and was driving reckless and hurt himself.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't have to.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The forgiveness piece is, man, I ain't have to do that, but
I feel that.
not somebody else.
Yeah.
Not going where he was supposed to go. It's like, but I'm going to do this I'm going to do something stupid, and something stupid happens to me that changes my life.
That changed my life. I can feel that. That's the work right there.
Yeah.
That's the process that you have to. Well, if that happens, I feel you on that.
Yeah.
I feel you on that. Mine's I would say right now is knowing that just certain people just can't go. Like
that you want to go.
Yeah. Or I just expect them to be here. No, that's hard on me. Even when it comes to my homeboys, to be where I'm at right now in life, and I ain't literally as of right now, I'm not sharing it with anybody I grew up with. Like literally, like no one's here to see this. Like it's that hurts. When I go back and look at my pictures over the last 3 years, and I'm grateful for, don't get it twisted, I love the friendships and people that he's put in my life, people that I consider family. When I look at that, sometimes it's like, man, this person ain't here, that person, this, that, and don't even talk to them.
Yeah.
You know, every now and then they pop up, but it's just like they not here. And sometimes it just, that's one that, you know, I have to continue to work through. I've been over the apologizing of what the Most High said on the basis of my faith. Let's start with this verse. He said, in order to be forgiven, you must forgive. He said, before you bring your gifts to the altar, go and reconcile with your brother. There's a lot of aspects of certain things when people are wondering why. Me and my cousin, Wayne, we had this conversation all the time. He's asked me, how do I think people feel about my success and me seeming unapologetic about it, you know what I'm saying, at this point. And I'm like, first person without sin cast the first stone. Who don't forgive won't be forgiven. There's a few more things that I can say. Bringing your gifts to the altar. I seek forgiveness. I've shown it in my change. I've walked in the faith, had my mustard seed, and I watched his word say, he said his word don't come back to him for it.
Not return for it. Mm-hmm.
I did those things. Those things happen. Same people who go to church believe, see me operating that are the same people who fixing their mouth. It ain't that I done got to a point of I don't care what they, because I don't like to say I don't care how you feel. First, I care how he feels about who am I obedient to, him or them.
Right.
It's coming. At the end of the day, I want everyone. Not saying that you haven't. If you haven't experienced what I'm about to say, this one, I want everybody to experience the freedom that I know I have in first me forgiving myself for the case that sent me to prison, for missing out on my child's life, pain I caused my mama, lies I told the people, the freedom that I have of realizing, and the freedom that I have in going back to feeling like I didn't deserve. I have experienced what you said to an extent, sometimes even now, wondering, should I keep getting? And I'm like, it ain't that I'm getting more money or more things. I'm getting more fullness of who I know he created me to be. And I accept them things unapologetically. It's the more of obedience, and I see more of freeing. I see more of say it. I don't know if I want to say that. Say it and free me of. See what that exposed in your righteousness, not in chaos and destruction. John the Baptist was beheaded for a righteous reason, and he expected the king to come and save him. And while he's sitting in there in his doubt for a righteous reason, I've done it several times. Post something for a righteous reason, stand on something for a righteous reason, get criticized and watch them be willing to free the rapper. I'm comparing to Barabbas that they freed the murder and chose to crucify Christ. I've watched on the basis of righteousness, people still criticize me, say this and say that, and boom, boom, boom. And I say, for righteousness' sake, I'm free though. That's the best way I can sum up the. And I ain't saying I'm like free of all unforgiveness because I still work through things, but it's a process and all of. But for the most part, for the righteousness' sake, I'm free. Concerning anybody, mama, child, father, friend, fiance, I'm gonna choose his righteousness for my freedom of my spirit, my mind, and my soul if I ever go, when I go. And with that, man, I want to be more of him, less of me.
Sitting here realizing that we got to be mindful, like just hit me now, of choosing punishments that God didn't ordain.
See what I'm saying?
Like I'm sitting here like, surely it has to happen like this because I XYZ.
Mm-hmm.
Applicable to your life. Surely I should breathe my last breath in jail because of XYZ. And God said otherwise, but imagine if you spent all your time still mentally out here. I've literally been rationalizing this in my mind for last couple years. Last year for sure.
Yeah.
Like this is the.
I like how you put that.
Oof.
He didn't ordain that pain. Imagine being the person who was a part of the crucifixion of Christ and didn't believe or know that he was who he said he was. One of the prophecies that were filled was he had to be pierced in his side. He was pierced in his side. When the blood came out and hit the man, I guess the blood was so pure, it hit him and he realized what he had done and who he had done it to. And even in that moment, imagine being the person that spit on him, kicked him, or pierced him, and then realize,
Son of God.
And he still, imagine the mental space they was in to forgive themselves. And he still was saying, forgive. Like you said, they caused it. They didn't know. Ignorance, whatever the case may be, environment, people, whatever it is. A lot of us made choices that the world done shaped, society done shaped, or whatever it is that you done did. And you can still get to that point where he's saying, that in your ignorance or your pride or your ego, man, I forgive you. He pierced them. He still said, forgive them. They didn't know that's what they do. You can still be free in that. Free yourself, man. And I ain't got nothing else to say, man. That was a dope episode, man.
I needed that. Didn't know.
If you want,
I thought we was gonna be laughing and joking.
So yeah, man.
Imagine that.
What you want to leave him with, my guy?
Leaving with hope, man.
Hope it is, man. Y'all already know what time it is. Two grown men having a conversation about unforgiveness.